Okay, we're going to continue with solving multi-step equations. This time, we're going to do examples that have variables or letters on both sides. Our first step is still going to be to simplify each side if we have to distribute or combine like terms. But then if there is another variable on another side, we have to undo that before continuing to solve. So if we look at our first example here, we have 6x minus 2 on one side. That's simplified because you can't combine those. And 3x plus 4 on the other. Again, you can't combine those because one has an x and one doesn't. But we do have variables on both sides. We have a 6x and a 3x. When that happens, you want to undo one of them. I usually undo the smaller variable. So 3 is smaller. So I'm going to undo positive 3x by doing negative 3x. And when you're undoing, what you do to one side, you do to the other. So 6x minus 3x is 3x. So I'm left with 3x minus 2 equals positive 4. You don't have to write down the plus sign. It just means your 4 is positive. Now it's a regular two-step equation. My 3 is attached to the x. So I have to undo the 2 first. So the opposite of minus 2 is plus 2. So we get 3x equals 6. And then the opposite of multiplying 3 would be to divide 3. So we get x equals 2 as our answer. If we look at example number 2 here, let's check if each side is simplified. On the left, negative 13 and 7x are not alike, so they can't be combined. On the right, negative 3x and 33 are not alike, so they can't be combined. But I do have a variable on each side. Again, I like to undo the smaller one, but it's up to you. So between 7 and negative 3 is smaller. To undo negative 3, the opposite would be to do positive 3x. And what you do to one side, you do to another when you're undoing. So here I'm left with negative 13. 7x and 3x is positive 10x. And on the other side, I'm left with negative 33. Now if I look at my variable, 10x is attached. So I'm going to start by getting rid of that negative 13. So to get rid of negative 13, I would do positive 13 to both sides. So I'm going to get positive 10x. Negative 33 plus 13 is negative 20. And then to undo 10 times x, I would divide by 10. So my answer for x is negative 2. On the next example, I'm going to check if I have to simplify either side. So the left side, 3x and 12 can't be combined. But on my right side, I have parentheses, so I can actually distribute. So the left stays the same. On the right side, 4 times x is 4x. And 4 times 3 is positive 12. 4x and 12 cannot be combined, so I'm done simplifying. So now I'm going to check. Here on this side, I have a 3x. On this side, I have a 4x. I need to undo one of those. I like to undo the smaller one, so I'm going to undo the 3x. So the opposite of positive 3 would be negative 3x. On this side, I'm left with negative 12. Here, 4x minus 3x is 1x. Now I look at my variable, so the 1x is attached, so I'm going to have to undo that plus 12. The opposite of plus 12 is minus 12. Now if I combine negative 12 and negative 12 is negative 24. And to get rid of 1 times x, the opposite would be to divide by 1. So my final answer is negative 24. If we look at the last problem, this one's going to involve several steps. First, I see parentheses, so I know I need to distribute that 2. So 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And then I can bring down the plus 4x minus 6 equals 2 minus 3x minus 10. Now, I'm going to continue by combining like terms. because my two sides aren't simplified. I need to make them as small as possible. So on the left side, only on the left, I can combine 6x plus 4x. Since they're on the same side, we're combining them. We're not undoing them. So 6x plus 4x is 10x. And then negative 10 and negative 6, or negative 10 minus 6, is negative 16. So I'm combining like terms one side at a time. On the right side, I can combine 2 minus 10. 2 minus 10 is negative 8. And then the negative 3x stays the same because there was not a like term on that side. So again, when you're combining like terms, you look at each side separately. Now that I've simplified, I can see I have variables on both sides here. Here I have a 10x. Here I have a negative 3x. Remember, it's up to you which one you want to undo. I like to undo the smaller one. So between 10 and negative 3 is smaller. The opposite of negative 3 would be positive, or to add 3x. So I get 10 plus 3 is 13x minus 16 equals negative 8. Now I can see that 13 is attached to the x. So I need to undo the minus 16. And I would do that by adding 16 to each side. Then I'm left with 13x equals negative 8 plus 16 is positive 8. And on my last step, the opposite of multiplying 13 would be to divide 13. 8 cannot be divided by 13 and get a whole number, so I'm going to leave my answer as a fraction. So my answer for x would be 8 over 13. And in math, sometimes you're going to get fractions. It doesn't mean you did it wrong. It's just if you can't simplify the fraction, leave it alone. Sometimes you can change it to a decimal, but if you do 8 over 13, you get 0.615 and it keeps going. You don't want to estimate or round because then you'll lose accuracy. So we're going to leave this one as a fraction.